be discussing about the module 9 of the organic chemical technology course, and this module will have 2 lectures. One is on the pesticide and the dye stuff and the intermediate. These are the 2 very important sector of chemical industry, and very brief we will be discussing on the pesticide and dyes and intermediate. So, let us discuss the pesticide, and this is you can see the type of the pesticide, types of the insecticide, different types of the insecticides we are using in our daily life also, and apart from the pesticide, they have played a very important role in the green revolution, and the whatever the food grain and crops we are seeing, this is only the because of the pesticides which we are using, because the fertilizer and the pesticide, these two have played important role in the green revolution. Coverage of the lectures for the pesticide is concerned, we will be discussing about the general introduction of the pesticide industry, Indian pesticide industry, profile of Indian pesticide industry, classification of the pesticide, because we are having the different type of pesticide and depending upon how they are working, and the target insect, what type of the target material is there, and depending upon that the various pesticides they have been developed. Technical grade pesticide manufactured in India, list of the, and then the what are the raw material, what are the process involved, and some of the important pesticide which we are using, that is the one is the DDT, although DDT is banned, but we will be discussing still we are making DDT. The 2,4-D, that is the herbicide, ethion, malthion, formalin, biopesticide, and also the benzene hexachloride, the gamma isomer of the benzene hexachloride, Gamex, in which we are large amount of this we are using. So, we will be discussing these things. So, let us discuss about the general pesticide. Pesticides are nowadays basic need of the agriculture production. Almost every country in the world uses pesticides. A appreciable amount of food is lost due to insect, pest, plant pathogens, weeds, rodents, birds, and storage. Pesticide includes insecticides, fungicide, herbicide, rodenticides, nematicides, etc. So, various grades of the pesticide we are manufacturing just to meet the demand and to control the insect. So, pesticide industry has developed substantially and has contributed significantly towards the India's agriculture and public health. In value terms, the size of Indian pesticide industry is $3.8 billion in the year 2001 to 2011. India is predominant exporter of the pesticide to USA, Europe, and African countries. Agriculture is the lifeblood of the Indian economy. Apart from fertilizers, pesticide played important role in the green revolution during the last 5 decades. Use of the pesticide in India was started for the first in 1948 on a small scale by importing DDT for malaria control and BSC for the locust control. Pesticide used in the agriculture began for the first time in India in 1949. Indigenous production of the pesticide began with the establishment of a DDT and the BSC benzene hexachloride plant in 1954. Indian exports of the agrochemicals have shown an impressive growth over the last 5 years, because the pesticide industry also we call it the agrochemical industry. India is one of the most dynamic generic pesticide manufacturer in the world, with more than 60 technical grade pesticide being manufactured indigenously by 125 producers consisting of large medium scale enterprises including about 10 multinational companies and more than 500 pesticide formulators spread over the country. Though the pesticide have made us self-sufficient in our food needs, the per hectare consumption of the pesticide in India is very low. Pesticide consumption is lowest, around 600 gram per hectare in India when compared to world average consumption of 3000 gram per hectare. India is the fourth largest producer of the agrochemicals after USA, Japan and China. Insecticides accounts for 76% of total domestic market. On the other hand, herbicide and fungicide have a significantly higher share in the global market. Crops like cotton, wheat and rice together account for 70% of total agrochemical consumption. There are around 125 technical units, 800 formulation units in India. Out of rupees 1,80,000 crore global market, the share of the global market is just 1,20,600 crores. The pesticide industry in India falls into three distinct categories, means they manufacture pesticide and formulation, exclusively formulation, because many small units are there which are taking the final products and doing the formulation, importers, distributors and dealers. This is the status of the pesticide industry in India. This is the pesticide consumption. If you compare here, the India is the lowest figure, 0.5 kg if you compare with the Republic of Korea, Italy and Japan. And so this you can just imagine our consumption per hectare is much less than other developed country. Profile of Indian pesticide industry in 2009-10, the installed capacity was 1.4 lakh tons, production was 0.82 lakh tons. These are the different types of the pesticide which we are making, the pesticides, insecticides. So here it is the DDT, malathion, parathion, dimethod, DDVP, quinalphos, monocrotophos, phosphimidum, phorate, ethion, indosulfone, fenvalerate, cypermethrin, anylophos, acephate, chloropyrifos, phospholone, metacistox, fenthion, trizophos. So different grades of the linden, temphos, delta methine, alpha methine, captan and captafol, gerum, carbonism, colexine, maniscop, copper oxychloride. These are the some of the figures. You can go through the production, consumption and the 2,4-D butachlor, insproturon, glyphosate, diuron, atrazine, fluorochlorinine, zinc phosphide, aluminum compounds are also there, dicofol, and total is around 146.2 thousand tons. This is from the data that is available on the website of the Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer. This is the product wise installed capacity and production of the major chemicals during the 2019 2002-3 comparison that has been given, and the production of figure of the 2009 and 10, and different pesticide that we are making, that is given there. So this is the agrochemical market segment wise: insecticide, herbicide, fungicide. So these are the three major category of the pesticide that we are using. So India values in the terms of rupees crore and the world values in terms of, so you can see the percentage is much less of the total average consumption, but still the major share is the of the insecticide, then it is the herbicide and the fungicides. Agrochemical market segment wise, these are the three major pesticide, insecticide, herbicide and fungicide that we are using, and the amount that you can see the major share is of the insecticide and then the herbicide and fungicide. This is the segment wise total consumption of the various insecticides that is there, that is given there. Here if you see this figure, from this figure it is clear that the major portion of the your pesticide or the agro chemical industry, that is the rice, that is major consumer, and the cotton is the highest. But the consumption in the cotton, that has, because this will again depend upon the type of the crops we are producing, and rest of the things we will be seeing that the other sugar cane or the grapes or the potato, wheat, it is much less than in comparison to rice and the cotton. This is about the again the population and the total food grain production and the area under the food grain cultivation, about the how the fruit crop pattern that we are having in India. So, the about, as I told you, the pesticide that has been playing a very important role in the green revolution and the increase in the food production, that has been only because of the availability of the pesticide and the manufacture of the various pesticides in India, because that is also a appreciable amount that we are using along with the fertilizer, because now the requirement that has been changing with the type of the crops we are having. So, major pesticide manufacture, this is the not the complete list, but some of the major pesticide manufacturer list: Excel Crop Care Limited, Hindustan Insecticide Limited, Coromandel International Limited, Super Crop Safe Limited, Amico Pesticide, Nagarjun Fertilizer and Chemicals, Cynamid Agro Limited, Hindustan Insecticide, Shivalik Ration, Southern Pesticide, and other large number other numbers are also there, because the beneath Hodges, because here some of the multinational companies are there. So, Bayers, Rallies, Indian Organic Chemical, Sandoz, United Phosphorus. This is one of the important, actually, the pesticide manufacturing industry in the Gujarat. Lupin Laboratory, ICI India, Canoria Chemicals, which started their BSc benzene hexachloride plant near Renikut in UP, when the aluminum plant came there, and so a lot of the requirement of sodium hydroxide was there. So, the caustic chlorine plant was set up at Renikut, and just to utilize the chlorine, they started making the benzene hexachloride also there. So, another company is the BASF India, EID Parry. Now, let us see the classification of the pesticide, because there are two, how we are classifying the pesticide. Pesticide classification is based on the pest they kill, based on the pest they kill. Based on the pest they kill, so insecticide, miticide, rodenticide, fungicide, industrial biocide, herbicide, and based on the chemical group, because here it is based on the pest they are. So, insecticide, DDT, Parthion, the carbol, the malthion, linden, these are the, then the miticide, calathane, the ethion. So, number of rodenticide, like rodenticide for rat, mice and the squirrel control, fungicide, fungi, and the parasite plant control, and the industrial biocides, microorganism control, and herbicide for the weed control. So, this is the based on the pest they control, and this is the list of the various pesticide coming in each category, and the other pesticides are also there. It is just a few important pesticide in different groups that is given here. This is the pesticide classification based on the chemical group. The carbamide contains nitrogen, organochloride contains chlorine, organophosphate contains phosphorus, and the miscellaneous fluorine, pyrethroids, phenoxyalkylic acid. And so, these are the some of the important pesticide which are coming in this group, the carbamates, Zeram, Carbyl, Pyrrolone, Isolane, DDT, neorganic chloride, dieldrine, aldrin, chlorodane, heptachlor. This is the again organic chloride, Parthion, Trithion, Malthion, dimethogen and phosgene. This is coming the organic phosphate pesticide, because here the phosphorus that is playing important role in the insect control. Miscellaneous fluorine, here is the fluorosilicate, cypermethrin, 2,4-D, diuran, monoran. So this is the classification of the pesticide based on the chemical groups. Pesticide is an agent used to kill or control undesired insects, weights, because different applications are there. The classification which has been given, that is because you are using for insects, weeds, rodents, fungi, bacteria or other organisms. So these are the derived from various chemicals and they contain different elements. In general, pesticides are classified based on the pest they kill and based on the chemical group they contain. So already we have discussed about the classification based on both. Apart from this, pesticide can be basically characterized by their physical, chemical and toxicological properties also. These are the technical grade pesticide manufactured in India, different acifid, BSC, chlorophyll, cypermethrins, DDT, dichloro, dimethogen. So a large list is a dichloropropane and dichloropropane mixture, dicophol, ethion, indosulfone, ethylene dibromide and carbon tetrachloride mixture, phenethion, phenethrone. So these are the large number of the insecticide we are having, and some of the there we are different formulations are also there. Fungicide, these are the list of the fungicide that we are using: the aerofungin, copper oxychloride, copper sulfate, carbendazim, captafol, fairbomb, mancozeb, nickel chloride, organomericulous, sulfur, stereocycline, therom, tridimorph, Zeram and Gene. So this is coming in the category. Rodenticide, barium carbonate, comophorol, sodium cyanide, warfarin, zinc phosphide. This is coming in the category of the rodenticide. Then the weedicide, analphos, butachlor, diuron, 2,4-D, fluorochlorine, glyphosate, isoproteurone, paraquat dichloride. These are coming in the category of the weedicide. Plant growth regulator, because what is happening, we are having the different, just like we need the different type of the nutrient, similarly the different type of the requirements are also there in case of the plant growth regulator that is there. So alpha-naphthalene, acetic acid, chloromaquate chloride, fungiments, aluminum phosphide, ethylene bromide, methyl bromide. So this is the in brief about the property of the various pesticides, because one of the major problem has been the from the environmental constraint, that is from the environmental point of view, because most of the pesticides they are highly toxic in nature. And so these are the effects. If the DDT already you see that there was ban because highly persistent, some of the pesticide highly persistent in nature, and this is the reason because many of the pesticide that has been banned, their use has been banned, and they are coming in the category of the hazardous waste, that is as notified by the Ministry of Environment and Forest. So this is the some of the effect of the DDT: vomiting, then the partial paralysis, mild convulsions, and the Parthian headache, blurred vision, weakness, nausea, cramps, sweating, loss of the reflexes, the coma. So these are the 2,4-D, again nausea, vomiting, kidney and liver failure that may be there, carbaryl symptoms same as the Parthian, but to a lesser extent. The properties also that we can just see the properties, but these are the some of the effect BSC, because in case of the BSC we are using the gamma isomer which is highly reactive and at the same time highly toxic, and normally the various formulation having the carrier 5% gammaxin that we are using. So, this because lot of the dust emission is there during the making of the that gammaxin powder, and so lot of the people who are working, they are exposed to the, in all the cases they are exposed to the various pesticide, and so the chance and the toxicity and that may cause serious health effect. And so, BSC irritation, excitation, hypertrophy, loss of equilibrium, depression, all. Similarly, linden, acute toxicity may be excitation, hypertability and loss of the equilibrium, depression, headache, nausea, irritation of the eyes, nose and throat, no chronic toxicity as such. It emits highly toxic fumes of the phosgene when heated. Here the about the property is the threshold value that is given the various pesticide. Atrazine relatively low toxicity, but a possible carcinogens. It emits dangerous fumes when strongly heated. Aldrin highly toxic by ingestion and inhalation, carcinogenic, use restricted to non-agriculture application, because aldrin that is highly toxic material. Dimethod highly toxic, a chlorination inhibitor, restricted use. Copper oxychloride toxic by ingestion and inhalation. This is the properties fungicide, soluble in acids, ammonia, insoluble in water. Gerome moderately toxic, a strong irritant to the eyes and the mucous membrane. Similarly, zinc oxide. So, this is the again highly toxic. So, most of the pesticide you will see that they are highly toxic in nature, and so proper precaution that is very important while using these pesticides. Now, let us discuss about the process technology that is involved in manufacture of the various pesticide insecticides. Pesticide manufacturing consists of chemical synthesis of the active ingredients for crop production, which is very often the synthesis of complex organic chemical compounds and subsequent formulation of these active ingredients, usually mixing and grinding process. So, major chemical reaction involved in production of technical grade pesticide. These are the various, because the basic raw material I will be discussing about the what are the feedstock, but basic raw material whether the benzene or the your phthalic anhydride, or it may be the xylenes, resorcinol, all those things, that is the benzoic acid, phenol or bisphenol. So, all those the basic raw material, but these are the some of the additional process that is required to make the active ingredient of the pesticide. So, the alkylation, carboxylation, acetylation, condensation, cyclization, dehydration, halogenation, oxidation, sulfonation, nitration, and amination. So, these are the some of the major unit process that is involved in making of the pesticide. So, this is the because you see the, as I told you earlier also, we are having the a large number of the pesticide manufacturers. Some are making the basic ingredient of the pesticide, some are doing only formulation, some are doing the just like the where the dusting powder means where the in the powder form you are getting, they are taking the main ingredient and then they are doing the formulation by mixing the basic pesticide with the powder base mineral. So, this is the formulation, dry, liquid and semi-solid formulation, that may be the dusting powder means just like you take the case of the benzene oxide. There we are having some powder mineral base along with the soapstone powder, finely powder So, the grinding and the pulverizing, that is one of the very important operation here in case of the making of the dusting powder. So, mixing of the basic pesticide and powder mineral base, that is the we are having mineral base means it may be soapstone or other some of the inert material which is cheap, which should be cheap, that is because this is only the carrier. And the water dispersible powders, it contains finely divided pesticide and surface active agent. Then the another type of the formulation where is the granule formation, content absorptive granule carrier, where the pesticide are absorbed in the granules, and so that granule that we are using. Emulsifiable concentrates, it contains basic pesticide, solvent and emulsifier. Then the another type of the water soluble concentrates, it contains the wetting agent. So, this is the how the formulation of the pesticide or the making of the pesticide that is being apart from this the basic ingredient the pesticide. So, we will be discussing some of the important pesticide that we are making. Not it will be not possible to cover all the pesticide, insecticide, herbicide, but only in brief we will be discussing about that. Let us now discuss the one of the major actually the you can say the use of the DDT that was the first started, and it was just for the fighting against the malaria. So, DDT was, but because of its persistent nature in the environment, now there is ban on the use of DDT, but still we are manufacturing and using the DDT, but in other developed countries there is ban on the DDT. So, DDT is a mixture of two isomers, para-trichloro 2,2-bis and orthopara 1-trichloro 2-chlorophenyl ethane 2-bis perchlorphormyl ethane. DDT is one of the commonly used organochloride pesticide. This was first synthesized in 1874 and played important role in the elimination of the malaria, as I told you earlier, that the and used for the agriculture. Main use started with the malaria and the elimination of the malaria disease, that is because of the use of the DDT that was started during the after getting the independence. However, due to its persistent nature and the carcinogenic nature, DDT has been banned in most of the country. DDT dissociates in presence of moisture into DDT and DDT, which are highly persistent in nature, because they will remain in the environment for a very long time and they will not biodegradable. So, steps in the DDT manufacture of the monochlorobenzene through chlorination of benzene using the iron catalyst, manufacture of chlorine through the chlorination of ethyl alcohol, manufacture of DDT through condensation reaction between MCB and the chlorine, means the MCB is the monochlorobenzene, and using oleum as the condensing agent. Recovery of the byproducts, dilute HCl, dichlorobenzene and sulfuric acid. So, this was the process about the DDT manufacture, that is the but as I told you, because of the highly carcinogenic nature, one of the major constant about all the pesticide, because they are discharging lot of the your hazardous material during the process manufacture. It is not only the during the use of the pesticide, but also during the manufacture also. The same thing is in case of the DDT also. Another very important pesticide malthion is made by condensation reaction of dimethoxy dithiophosporic acid in the presence of hydroquinone and diethyl malate. Formalin is an important fungicide and is used as a fumigant for seeds, soil and greenhouses. It is 40% formaldehyde solution, because this is one of the another important use of the formaldehyde and manufacture of formaldehyde we discussed earlier in the petrochemical section. So, the many of the raw material, basic raw material which you are taking, that is from the petrochemical route. Now we are taking those raw material, not through the coal route, which was the earlier route for getting many of the organic chemicals. Indosulfone is a organochlorine group of the pesticide. Indosulfone is produced from hexachlorocyclopentadiene, and this cyclopentadiene, while discussing the C4 C5 recovery in case of the FCC gases and the cracker gas, I discussed the importance why the cyclopentadiene that is important to recover from the C5 gases. Inorganic fungicide, because we are having the both organic and inorganic fungicide. Inorganic fungicide, elemental sulfur and compound of heavy metals like copper and mercury was earlier used as a major inorganic fungicide. However, due to environmental concern, there has been ban on their use. The Brodiox is an important inorganic fungicide. Now let us come to the benzene hexachloride, and you see that during the manufacture of the benzene hexachloride we need a lot of the chlorine, and as I told you earlier that the Canoria chemical which started making the caustic chlorine, the caustic that was being used by the aluminum plant there, and the chlorine that is being used for making of the benzene hexachloride. So, benzene hexachloride is made by the chlorination of benzene. Again here the basic raw material is the benzene in the presence of ultraviolet radiation and solvent media consisting of the acetic anhydride and carbon tetrachloride. The product is mixture of isomers of BSC, of which gamma isomer is a powerful insecticide and is commonly known as gamaxine, which are the linden. (2,4-D). This is the very commonly we use this term 2,4-D. So, 2,4-dichlorophenoxychloroacetic acid. This is the name of the, and the 2,4-D is an important herbicide. It is made by chlorinating phenol to form again phenol, the basic raw material, that is the benzene, or it may be from the cumin root. So, phenol to form 2,4-dichlorophenol, which is purified and converted to sodium salt, which is reacted with the sodium monochloroacetate formed by chlorinating acetic acid. 2,4-D is usually used in form of amine salt or the ester. So, this is how we are making the 2,4-D. Ethion is made by reacting phosphorus pentasulfide and alcohol, which is reacted to form dithiophosphotic acid DTA, which is further reacted with caustic soda to form sodium salt of DTA. Dichloros. So, this is 2-dichlorovinyl dimethyl phosphate. Dichloro is an organophosphate compound. It is a dense colorless liquid with a sweetish smell and is highly soluble in water. Dichloros is used in pest control. Dichloros is made by dehydrochlorination of trichlorophene in presence of caustic soda. It is also made from the condensation of the dichloroacetaldehyde and trimethyl phosphate. So, this was the in brief about the some of the important pesticide, and if you see the raw material which is needed for the making of the pesticide, that is the some of the aromatics, they are important actually, and the some of the phosphates that is being used for the making of the organophosphate insecticide. Now, actually, as I told you, the environmental concern, there is a lot of the environmental concern are there because of the use of the pesticide. And now, if you see the water, groundwater that has been reported contaminated by heavy metals, by the pesticides, and lot of the pesticide which is being used, that is we are inhaling, that is going in our body through the food grain. So, lot of the environmental concern are there, and because what we are doing in case of the use of the pesticide, you will have to take precaution while using, which we are not taking, and so because of that problem, lot of the environmental hazards has been reported by the use of the pesticides. And even you take the case of the good night, we are continuously exposed to the vapor while inhaling during the when we are sleeping. So, this is how a large number of the even other mosquito repellent which we are using while spraying, definitely we are also exposed to that. So, these were the some of the concern about the use of the pesticide. So, again the same biopesticides, biofertilizer, because of the problems of the environmental problems, we have started thinking the same, the compost or the neem, in case of the fertilizer also. The neem, that you see the one of the very important tree that is there, and so that the neem fertilizer, neem pesticide, neem even you are using the toothpaste, neem soap. So, this is how the importance. So, let us discuss about the biopesticide, because now because of the environmental concern, there is growing environmental concern and consumer inclination towards chemical free crops, especially food crops. There has been increasing use of the biopesticide. Now we are getting the pesticide free food, green food. So, this is how we are now this has led to this has been the major driving force, the environmental concern for the again development of the biopesticide. Three major class of the biopesticide are microbial pesticide, biochemical pesticide, and plant incorporated pesticide. Biopesticide getting importance as they are less toxic than the conventional pesticide, which has become serious threat to the environment due to its increasing use. As I told you, the problem that we are facing, biopesticide affect only the target pest and closely related organ. So, this is because what we need, only we need the target pest should be affected, but in case of the other chemical pesticide, other problems are also there. So, that is why we prefer the biopesticide. Several factors such as new products, end user acceptance and acceptance of the substitute to conventional pesticide, and declining market for harmful organophosphate insecticide have fueled the market growth of the biopesticide, the pesticide in general, and then the driving force for coming of the more biopesticide. Delivering a better alternative to manage harmful insects, weeds, and fungal plant pathogen, biopesticide is poised to witness robust gains in the coming years. United States represents the largest region for biopesticide worldwide. Europe represents the fastest growing regional market for biopesticides. With the growing acceptance of the biopesticide as an efficient crop protection alternative with eco-friendly footprint, several agricultural chemicals are leading towards the biopesticide as the organic food business. Now we call it the organic food. So, the organic food business is growing, demand for non-toxic pesticide for crop protection is increasing. So, now you must have seen advertisement, the organic food means now the various companies are there which are marketing their products which we are using in daily, that is as organic food. Use of the biopesticide is being encouraged by Government of India as part of the integrated pest management program. Some of the important biopesticide: Trichloethane, fungi, trichoderma, and the glyocladium, and the bacularvis, Bacillus thuringiensis, neem. Neem is the one of the actually the important biopesticide, and its use earlier there was less use with the coming of the more chemical pesticide, but again people have started thinking of the neem as the pesticide as well as in the part of the fertilizer also. Now we call it the new generation NGI, new generation insecticide, looking to the environmental hazards of the chemicals used as pesticide in the past. New generation of pesticides with reduced risk to the environment and human health has developed and are being used. These pesticides tend to be rather surgical in method for their reducing the number of insects. Some of the new generation pesticide are neonicotinoids, and then the spinosans and the spermicides, indoscarp, fiprols, or the phenyl pyrazoles, pyrazolacea, pyridinones, quinazoles. 7 class of insecticides which have appearance in the recent years are methoxyacrylates, naphthioquinones, neristoxin, anaglos, pyridine, azomethine, pyrimidine, amines, tetronic acids, clofentazines. While discussing the petrochemical, because you see the one of the large integrated chemical plant, they are making the pyridine and picoline from the alcohol route, the molasses route, because they are making the acetaldehyde, acetaldehyde. So the pyridine and picoline, that is one of the, they are very valuable product that I told you that the this is the your VAM organic, now jubilant organic is called. So they are making the pyridine and picoline, and the cyclopentane that I told you earlier, that is by the recovery from the C5 acetate. IGRS, the insect growth regulator, what we call it, the IGRS are compounds which alter the normal growth of the process of insect and therefore can be used to control insect population. Some of the IGRs are the juvenile hormone based insecticide, then the tebuconazide and phenoxychloroquine. So this was about the various pesticide and insecticide, different of types of the pesticide which we are making in India, and the how this has been playing important role, and the various type of the actually the, so far the production is concerned, different small to large integrated plants are there which are also making the basic raw material for the ingredient for the pesticide industry. And so this is the how the importance of the pesticide is in there in our crop production, and they have played important role, and the use of the insecticide or the pesticide, that is increasing day by day because of the many of the insects they are making more repellent, and they are not actually responding to the various pesticide. And so the new generation of the pesticide, new type of the pesticide is being developed. Even we must have seen that the in case of the mosquito, various type of the, now it is market, in the market we are using the for the control. So this is the in brief about the pesticide industry and the pesticide, which have the pesticide for different purposes. In the next lecture we will be discussing about the dyes and intermediate, because that is also one of the important sector of chemical industry, although the if you compare with other chemical industry, the total amount in is less, but still that is one of the very important, because just like here in case of the pesticide, they have been able to provide more and more food. There in case of the dyes and intermediate, they have made our life more and more colorful.